Live on Rumble and YouTube. How's everybody doing? Welcome in. Well, what a week that was, huh? I mean, that was crazy. Nail biting, anxiety inducing, I would say. Waiting for that verdict to come in. That was crazy. And it was the right verdict. A lot of people are very happy. Some people aren't happy. I came across this this tweet from Tim Pool. It says, "Rage on behalf of the state." So this is this is referencing a tweet from Rage Against the Machine. And rage on behalf of the state, or rage on behalf of the machine, because that's what they're doing. Whatever happened to subversive music? Like, what? Aren't they supposed to be subversive, right? They're not supposed to agree with everything that Anderson Cooper says. That doesn't feel very punk rock. It doesn't feel rebellious to me. That just feels like, I don't know. I mean, have they played live on The View? Have Rage Against the Machine played live on The View? I wonder. They probably have. Tom Morello's probably been on there. They love commies. I just find it very amusing. Rage on behalf of the machine. Just change the name. What are they saying? 1. What defines innocence in America? This is, of course, in reference to Rittenhouse not being guilty, which they just can't stand, because they apparently Rage Against the Machine was always authoritarian, it turns out. They were always for authoritarianism. It just that it wasn't authoritarian enough for them. The machine wasn't tyrannical enough for them. There was too much free speech. There were too many rights. The legal system was too fair. They weren't having it. They were raging against that. They were raging against that, hoping that one day they could live under authoritarian rule. I mean, I don't know. The world is so weird now. I mean, there are so many things that nobody ever could have really, just wouldn't have imagined. It would be funny, except that it's so damn sad. But I guess it is still kind of funny. Anyway, what defines innocence in America? Tamir Rice was executed for playing with a toy. That was a very tragic case. 12-year-old boy had a toy gun. A very tragic case. Absolutely nothing to do with Kyle Rittenhouse. What this is emotional manipulation, which is what they do. That is the modern left now. It's just manipulation. I think it's because that's what works on them. Like, obviously, logical arguments don't work. Not anymore. So what works on them is emotional manipulation. So that's just normal. So you just throw in something that has nothing to do with the matter at hand. So that's what they do. Let's see. Ahmaud Arbery went jogging and was murdered in broad daylight. That's in trial right now. There's a trial going on for that right now. Again, nothing to do with this case. With the Rittenhouse case. Rittenhouse armed himself and killed 2 people who were fighting for racial justice. Yeah, I mean, did they watch any of the trial? Do they know anything about this case? I don't think that they do, because I don't think that's important to them. I don't think it's important to them to know. They just kind of have a feeling. They heard Anderson Cooper say that Rittenhouse was bad, right? They heard Don Lemon say, they heard the women on The View say that he was bad. What more do you need? You don't need to look at it. You don't need to watch any of the testimony or any of the trial. You know, Anderson Cooper has already told them. And it feels good to be mad about it. So just go with that. Again, it's all emotional manipulation. That's all it is. That's the whole world over there. And it doesn't make for a good world or for good decision making. Anyway, 2 people fighting for racial justice. I think they were just rioters. I mean, one guy just got out of either a mental institution or jail the night before. He probably didn't even know what the hell was going on. He just had a long, violent, awful history. We're talking about Rosenbaum, right? I wonder if Rage on Behalf of the Machine knows what Rosenbaum did to children. I wonder if they know that. Probably not, actually, because again, they don't need facts or anything like that, or reality, right? They already know what they're supposed to feel and what they're supposed to think, so you just go with that. He claimed self-defense because it was, and a jury of his peers agreed. So this is what they're railing against, like rule of law, like an impartial justice system. That's what they're raging against. Why should Kyle Rittenhouse go spend the rest of his life in prison? Why should that have anything to do with any other case? Right? I guess that's equity, right? I guess equity would be for his life to be ruined for no reason. Or I guess the reason would be to make Rage on Behalf of the Machine feel better. That seems to be the logic at work. I don't know. Let's take a look at this thread. Let's see what else they say. 2. This is the settler logic of America's founding myth. Whiteness must cast itself as a victim in order to justify its violence against those resisting its suppression. Okay, everybody involved was white in the Rittenhouse case. Did nobody tell them this? Did nobody tell Rage Against the Machine that this is what happened? Somebody must not have told them. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Whiteness, blah, blah, blah. All the same words. It's just always a word salad of the same buzzwords. They just keep throwing them out, and it's supposed to mean something, I guess. Violence against those resisting its oppression. Nobody was resisting oppression that night. They were actually oppressing. I mean, that's why he was found innocent, because it was self-defense. Welcome to the land of the free, home of the brave. So I don't think they actually, see, this is the thing. I don't think they like land of the free or home of the brave. I don't think they like freedom or anything like that. I think they just want some Stalinist state where everybody has to do what they say. And they're very happy until, they're the one in the gulag, I guess. I don't know. Have none of these people ever, all of these Marxists, have they never picked up a history book before? Or even just looked at communist societies, or socialist society, like Venezuela. It didn't go so well there. Anytime you're eating a zoo animal, it didn't go great. I don't know. It just seems kind of obvious to me. Seems kind of obvious. All right. Let's move on. Let's go down a little bit. Let's see. Here's somebody says, no, he defended himself against rioters trying to kill him. Figure out the difference. Agreed. Checks out. Let's see. Why does fighting for justice these days always involve the destruction of other people's property? Others' livelihood, others' safety. This wasn't a protest. It was a riot that resulted in $50 million in damage. That's right. There was 50 cars burned in just one car lot. Let's see. Yeah. Rage alongside the government. Exactly. When you go from raging against the machine to parroting legacy media talking points, when you go from raging against the machine to parroting legacy media talking points, sad decline. Again, they were always for the machine, just a more authoritarian machine. Again, apparently, it was not authoritarian enough for them before. They weren't able to just decide the outcomes of trials based on their emotions. So that made them sad, and they want that. That's what they want, because that's all they can do, is react emotionally. Raging for the machine is a turn I should have expected. Yes. The prosecutors were the one representing the machine, right? Exactly. This random Wisconsin trial was televised ad nauseum, and you're someone still getting it wrong. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, but that's because they didn't pay any attention. Right? They already know the answer before they've heard the question. It's part of the whole leftist thing. It's all based on feelings, as far as I can tell, or that's how I seem to think about it tonight anyway. Breaking. Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty in a shooting case involving 3 white men. People who didn't watch a single second of the trial. The verdict shows white supremacy is alive in America. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Let's see. Rage Against the Machine agrees with the president. Half of Congress, most billionaires and celebrities. Yeah, tech oligarchs love them too. Yeah, that's how you know you're a rebel, right? That's how you know you're a rebel, when the ladies on The View agree with everything that you think and say, and tech oligarchs agree with everything you think and say. That's how you know, half of Congress, the president. Although who knows what Biden believes. I mean, I think that he's just a kind of an empty vessel at this point, right? He just repeats things that his handlers tell him to say. I don't think he's really in control. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. I guess Rage Against Ordinary but Sensible People didn't sound as catchy. It's not as catchy, sadly, is it? Unfortunately. Let's see. Rage in lockstep with the machine. Yes. What else we got? Let's see. The people who killed Arbery are on trial. The fact that every single person on your side of the argument has to leave out crucial information when criticizing the outcome of this case speaks volumes. Yes, it does. It's just pure manipulation is the thing. It's just pure manipulation. And I think that's by design. Rage against self-defense. Specifically, which machine are you raging against? Again, it was the old one that wasn't authoritarian enough for them. Rage with the machine, yep. Let's see. Quote, people who were fighting for racial justice out of the Rage Against the Machine tweet there. Tell me you don't know anything without telling me you don't know. Exactly. These were not nice, just well-meaning people, fighting for just, no. That's not what was happening at all. Fighting for racial justice while screaming the N-word. Right. That was Rosenbaum. You know, the one that's the child rapist, right? That apparently Rage Against the Machine loves so much. Have you seen those placards the protesters have with Huber and Rosenbaum on it? It says heroes. Do you think that they know anything about those two guys? You have to think that at least with Rosenbaum, if they knew what he had done, the horrible things that he had done, they surely wouldn't have had him on a placard saying hero, would they? I mean, I guess it's possible, but I can't imagine that. I really can't imagine that they would. Because everybody hates those guys. Everybody hates people that do that to children. The only thing that I can say, I have to assume that they just don't know anything about the case. Otherwise, they would have stayed home. You have to think that, right? You certainly wouldn't put that guy's on a face on a sign, on a placard saying hero. I don't know. World's crazy, so who knows? Well, they said what happened to you guys. Respect for what you used to be. Always question the narratives. So I don't respect them, what they used to be. They've always been commies. Not down with that. Let's see. No, he armed himself and then killed people that were fighting him, specifically as he was assaulted. If he hadn't armed himself, who knows what would have happened to him? I think we've got a decent idea. I can't wait for Kyle to sue you. Also, real classy defending a pedo. There we go. There we go. Now we got it. All right. Well, on that note, I know a lot of people are wondering about what's going to happen with the whole suing thing. Let's see. Ron DeSantis opines again on Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, urges lawsuits against defamatory media. So, yeah, I mean, I think that everybody who's not insane would like to see Kyle Rittenhouse sue just the liars, the outright liars that comprises 95% of the legacy media of mainstream media. It's got to happen. Sandman did it, and it worked out pretty well for him. I don't know exactly how much he got. People throw around $250 million. I don't know how much he actually got. He settled. I have to think that it was a considerable amount. But could it have been that much? Because they don't seem scared of lying still. Because they would just outright lie after lie after lie. The whole, crossing as state lines with an assault weapon, that didn't happen. That he had the gun illegally. That was determined in the trial. No, he had that weapon legally. And just the whole, assault weapon. It's just a rifle. White supremacist. No evidence of this. That's defamatory. Let's take a look here. Governor wants state laws to allow for defamation suits against press and advertisers. DeSantis, in an emailed essay from his re-election campaign, urged Rittenhouse to sue every corporate media outlet and every moronic commentator who smeared him into oblivion. So sue him into oblivion. I couldn't agree more. It's evil what they do. It really is. And it leaves people so misinformed that they're standing out front of a courthouse with a child rapist on a placard, a picture of a child rapist with the words hero above his head. Because maybe I'm just naive. I refuse to believe the people holding those signs knew that. Why didn't they know that? Because the media hid it from them. Let's see. Actually, let's keep going here. Nick Sandman has said that Kyle Rittenhouse should sue the media, and he would know. What did he say? He said, I think he should sue the media, but it's really personal, really a personal call that's up to him. In January, it will be 3 years since everything happened at the March for Life, and I'm still looking at another 2 years until the cases that go to trial are resolved. So it's really a personal call. Yeah, that's right. He's still suing, right? I know he settled with CNN. I think he might have settled with somebody else too. But he has other cases going forward as well. So he's not done yet. And it is a long and grueling process. Because it's actually not that easy to prove defamation. Anyway, he says, as a 17-year-old in Kyle's case, and mine 16, your mind is still developing. So to deal with an overload of stress, where you have this feeling that half of the country, hundreds of millions of people, hate you for something that you're innocent of. But how you are painted can do a lot to you mentally, especially when the people doing it, the people in the media, are sociopaths. Like apparently every single person at CNN or MSNBC. It takes a very strong will to be able to resist that and keep a level head. I think that Kyle Rittenhouse is dealing with that right now. Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. Again, these people, the teleprompter readers, I think must be sociopaths. I mean, they don't seem to have any kind of moral foundation whatsoever. They'll just say anything, right? You can't be that against any president. Never, I understand how people could have a distaste for Trump, but nobody can be against him on everything all the time, on any person, anybody. I mean, everybody does something decent sometime. If somebody, when you can guess where somebody stands on every single issue, you can just predict it, that is not a person that you want to have in your life. Because that person is an automaton. They're an NPC. And what we have is NPC media. Everywhere in the Western world, actually. Everywhere. As far as I can tell, UK, Canada, Australia, it's bad everywhere. But anyway, so Sandman wants him to. Apparently he's saying it is kind of a stressful situation. Now, Sandman didn't have to go through a brutal trial. That's a difference here. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole new level of stress coming up for Kyle Rittenhouse. What does Dershowitz have to say about it? I hope Rittenhouse sues CNN. They have to be held accountable for abusing First Amendment and lying. Yeah. Alan Dershowitz told Fox News host Sean Hannity he hopes Kyle Rittenhouse sues CNN following his acquittal on Friday. Dershowitz said he would assist by sharing his research about CNN with Rittenhouse and his lawyers. Good. I mean, that's very generous of him. I mean, he hates the media now. I mean, he used to be kind of a media darling. He used to love him on like CNN until they turned on him for not being an NPC, basically, for actually having principles surrounding the law and the Constitution of the United States. And they turned on him fast, too. Really fast. So he hates them now, too. So, yeah, and he's suing them, of course. He's suing them, and that's why he's offering to share his own research about CNN. Because he's suing them, because they lied about him. They claimed that when Dershowitz, okay, I must be getting tired. Dershowitz argued during the impeachment that Trump had, that he had done nothing, he had not committed a crime. They claimed that he said that, Dershowitz said that the president could not commit a crime. That's essentially what CNN said, which is not what Dershowitz said. What Dershowitz said, as far as I recall, was that simply, the president's doing something with a motivation that it will help him get reelected is not impeachable because every president does that every single day. Because it's an insane argument. Anyway, what else does he say? Quote, critics and people who support the conviction just heard a different case. They heard a case of a white supremacist crossing state lines with an AR-15 who had no business being in the place that he went to, who went for no good reason, who was not chased and had no fear for his life. So they thought something completely different from reality. A completely different case, as Dershowitz said. None of this was true. Quote, that's what CNN told their viewers. I hope that Rittenhouse sues CNN. I want him to make an offer. I will share my research about CNN with Rittenhouse and his lawyers. As you know, I am suing CNN because they totally distorted and edited a tape of my defense of Donald Trump. They have a policy, a history of distorting facts in order to present a narrative. They certainly do. That's just all they do all day long, every single day. Apparently politically motivated. So this is what I'm talking about when I say those people out there with the Joseph Rosenbaum on their sign with the hero. CNN didn't tell them the truth. I have to believe that if CNN told them the truth, they would burn that sign they'd just been holding. Because you'd certainly have to feel, I mean, if you didn't know and then you found out, you'd feel bad. You'd feel dirty. You'd feel unclean, right? That I don't care what happened. That is not somebody that you want to have the word hero next to. Aside from the whole trial and everything that happened, right? I'm sorry. CNN, maybe you should tell people this stuff. Quote, I think you have to distinguish between opinion and facts. This is Dershowitz again. You can't sue somebody for calling Rittenhouse a vigilante. That's an opinion. But you can sue them for saying he crossed state lines with an illegal weapon or that he was a white supremacist. And I do think, although I am a strong supporter of the First Amendment, that CNN and others have to be held accountable for abusing the First Amendment and lying about individuals and creating an expectation of a conviction in a case where there was no realistic possibility of a conviction for anybody who actually saw the trial live on television. Correct. Correct. Unless you're just a hopeless ideologue, which I think there are all too many of those around, to be honest. But he says that you can sue CNN or MSNBC or many others who did say this. We've all seen like the tweets and them saying it live on TV that he crossed state lines with an illegal weapon. Not true. Or that he's a white supremacist, which is not true. I mean, certainly there is zero evidence. Nobody has any reason to say that. So if Dershowitz thinks he's got a good case there, I mean, he's kind of a legal legend, right? So who knows? All right. All right, that's the end of that. Now, still on this subject of defamation, from Newsweek, the next Kyle Rittenhouse case may involve Joe Biden. Because you know how Dershowitz was just saying that you can't say that he's a white supremacist. That's something he could be sued for. Well, of course, that's what Joe Biden said. I don't know if you weren't aware of this. Apparently, he'll just say anything if it's politically expedient. This was before he was president. This was still when he was campaigning. Kyle Rittenhouse could argue President Joe Biden defamed him with a tweet apparently linking him with white supremacists, according to a lawyer who won a defamation case for the student Nicholas Sandman. I really hope he does go for the big fish, because this whole throwing around white supremacists, I mean, for one thing, do those words even mean anything anymore? Do they? There's a point, if we're not already there, where that phrase is that those words are not going to mean anything to nobody's going to believe it. Most people, I think they hear that and they just shrug and go, oh, really? Everything is, right? Milk is, rocks are, the sky is, clouds, cars, roads, birds. I mean, almost all of those I'm referencing actual stories I've covered in the media of people accusing them of being white supremacy. There is a point where it just becomes meaningless. Maybe people need to be sued more. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Todd McMurtry helped Nicholas Sandman, the former Kentucky high school student, reach a settlement with CNN after he was portrayed as the aggressor in an apparent confrontation in 2019 with a Native American activist on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. We're all familiar with that. And he so far has had some success with that. And there's still more cases, as we discussed. McMurtry told Fox News that Biden could be accountable for his tweet on the presidential campaign on September 30th, 2020, in which he said then President Donald Trump had refused to disavow white supremacists on the debate stage. Biden's message was accompanied by a video clip in which Rittenhouse is pictured holding a weapon. So it's pretty clear what his intent was there. What you take from that tweet is that Kyle Rittenhouse was using his rifle and engaging in a white supremacist misconduct, McMurtry told Fox News. So it's actionable. Not necessarily going to win, but it's actionable. I hope he does. I really hope he does. I really hope he goes for it. I think people would donate a lot of money to him to cover the legal fees for that. McMurtry said that as Biden was not president at the time of the tweet, he would not have any presidential or congressional immunity from a civil suit. Well, isn't that interesting? I'm surprised by that, actually. But, well, it's very interesting. Very interesting. I think that there's lots of people on MSNBC that Kyle Rittenhouse might want to consider for suing. MSNBC host blasts GOP white supremacist. There it is again. Is it already starting to just mean nothing? I mean, just from this video, it's just thrown out over and over and over and over again every single day. It's like they're not just doubling and tripling down. It's like they're stuck. It's like a skipping record at this point. They just can't stop. Everybody thought that maybe, the Virginia and then, what happened in New Jersey and then actually in half a dozen places, there were surprising results in elections. It seemed to just, I don't know, shock these people. Again, it's like a record that's just repeating over and over and over again. It's bizarre, actually. It's become like this spastic thing that they do. It's like Tourette's at this point. Tiffany Cross said she took issue with U.S. Reps Gates and Gosar offering to hire Rittenhouse as a congressional intern. Boy, that would piss them off, though, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know if that's just a troll, but it's a good one. Liberal and MSNBC host Tiffany Cross blasted Republicans, blah, blah, blah. Cross, host of The Cross Connection. Her comments came during a conversation with The Nation journalist Elie Mystal, who was also critical of the GOP. Of course, it's MSNBC. During the conversation, Cross referenced to 18-year-old Rittenhouse as, quote, this murderous little white supremacist. Now, that's the sort of thing that Dershowitz is saying you can be sued for, right? So I don't know. Maybe this is where Rittenhouse can start, perhaps. Even though the jury agreed Rittenhouse acted in self-defense last year when he shot 3 people, killing 2, and that all 3 people he shot, like Rittenhouse, were white. How many people don't know that still to this day? How many people have no idea? I wonder. It would probably be shocking, the number. The percentage. Or maybe it would just, mirror exactly CNN's viewership, perhaps, or MSNBC's viewership. I don't know. Let's see. People are happy that Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't unjustly sent to jail, so Cross isn't happy. She says, I find these people disgusting. I'm disgusted at what I'm seeing. That's because you're a terrible person. And then this guy, Mystal, said, welcome to the modern Republican Party. This is what these people want, and this is what a majority of white people vote for. They're just racist, people. These are just bigots. Okay? These are just vile, bigoted people. Okay? These are racists. These are terrible people that they hate white people, is what it is. We just have to say that now, right? These are people that are bigoted against another group of people for immutable characteristics. These are vile people. Here's the thing with conservatives is that when I call myself a conservative now, whatever that means, right? Whatever that word means anymore, it's not the left, right? But everybody that I know that's kind of the same as me politically is against judging people by just looking at them, just looking at them and deciding that you know everything you need to know about them. Everybody I know thinks that's evil and bad. These people don't. Every second word out of their mouth is white this, white that. These people are just bigots. It's so strange. It's so odd. I find it so odd. It's actually a really alien way of thinking to me, right? To just say that person isn't a part of that group, so I know everything I need to know about them, and I'm just going to, and actually everything I know is bad about them, right? So I can just make all these assumptions, and they're all bad. That's a very alien way of looking at the world to me. It's obviously not a moral way of looking at the world, but this is the way that, as far as I can tell, everybody at MSNBC sees the world now. Bizarre. All right, what else we got? Should Kyle Rittenhouse sue the media for defamation? Yes, he should. Here's Sandman. I got $250 million from the media for defamation lawsuits. Kyle Rittenhouse, hold my beer. Again, we don't know that it was $250 million. At least I don't know that. Maybe that's been confirmed, but I don't know. Here's Dinesh D'Souza. Why shouldn't he be smiling? He beat the prosecution. President Biden, the Democrats, the media, the digital censors, the whole system. Yeah, David 1, Goliath 0. Yeah, I mean, the digital censors, GoFundMe wouldn't let him raise money. It's just unbelievable. To my mind, just corruption. All right, one last thing. We actually talked about this at my last live stream quickly. I think I've solved the riddle here, the puzzle. Goalie for Iran women's soccer team accused of being a man. So that's the player that's accused of being a man. And I don't know. I assume not. Because I don't know. I said it's hard to do this without being mean. But you can't do it without being a little bit mean, right? So anyway, I solved the puzzle. I solved the mystery here. There. It's Jaws from that James Bond movie with Roger Moore. Solved. Done. Over. We can put this to bed now. All right. Hey, please subscribe, because you know what? If you're watching the stream on Rumble, last time I checked, I was like 8 subs from 5,000. So that'd be really nice if we could reach that tonight. That would be awesome. No matter where even if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe there too. That would be awesome. And yeah, hey, thanks a lot for stopping in, and I guess I'll see you soon. Bye.